Developing visual memory for trading is extremely important if you are a discretionary trader. Discretionary traders trade certain patterns, either chart patterns or some setup patterns, and those patterns are visual in nature. In order to become good at trading that kind of a pattern, you need to have a visual memory which is so well developed that when you see a setup in real life, you can instantly recognize whether this setup is really the setup I'm looking for. So, in order to do this, you need to study thousands, 5,000, 10,000 examples, visual setups, and then your memory comes to a level where when you look at a setup, you can instantly recognize that kind of a setup. And this kind of a work, when a trader doesn't have that kind of a visual memory developed, is when they struggle with trading. So they think that this particular setup is, say, there is a setup which I trade which is like a dollar breakout kind of a setup. Now, I have studied more than like probably $100,000 breakouts past moves. So I have a visual memory as to what I am looking for. There are members who have studied hundreds, thousands, or 5,000 examples of that in a short period of time. So they developed a visual memory. So they can also find the setup, same setup as I can find. But then there are people who do not have a well-developed visual memory of setups. And then they are like looking at something else and they say, oh, this is like in a dollar breakout, or this is a momentum burst, or this is a weak structure short. But it is nowhere close to what a momentum burst or a dollar breakout or a weak structure short will be. So, in order for you to become good at trading, you need to really put in an effort in developing visual memory. Now, a lot of people, Stockbee members, have done this kind of a work because that's like in a foundation work which you need to start trading a setup. And I will show you some of the examples of like the kind of work which people have done. Two examples, and you can understand from that visually by doing that kind of a work how these traders have evolved. So let's look at some of the things, right? And this is a book which somebody put together, one of the members put together for looking for a specific setup, which is 5 days. It's a $10 move, right? And that's a setup. And then you can see like $7, 7 days, $10 move, right? And so he's looking for a specific setup, dollar breakout, which we call it as dollar breakout, which is like basically here you see like it's a $54 move. But like by marking and studying these examples and memorizing visually these examples, this particular trader has developed a memory to be very good at trading this particular setup. So when this setup shows up in his scan, he can react to it very fast. And there are hundreds of examples. So like I think this particular thing, he put together almost 300 examples of perfect setups. Like in 3 days, the stock is up $25, right? And you're looking for something which makes like an $8 to $10 kind of a moves, right? 13 days it is up 8, and this is the entry point, right? And so here again I'm at like 6, and hundreds of examples, and you can like so again looking at this kind of work every day, multiple times during the day, is what builds visual memory. If you can look at it multiple times and the more work you put in, you'll develop a visual memory. Now, this particular trader has developed a very good visual memory. He knows what to look for, what is exactly the start, what start should look like, and as a result of that, this particular trader is successful in doing this. So this is one example of building visual memory, and there are a lot of examples of this all over the place in this particular thing. So this kind of a work is what builds expertise. This is the kind of work which will make you highly profitable. This is the kind of work which you need to do before you start trading a setup. Just like you read a scan and you start trading, you're not going to be making much of a progress. But if you have the inclination to do this kind of a work, like this person put together some 300 examples of this for his own study, right? And he knows exactly what to look for. There has to be a narrow or a black candle, then only he's going to buy it. And look at all his examples are perfect examples which he have found. and he has visually memorized those examples. So in real life, if he sees a setup like this, he can instantly react to it, and he knows from past memory what happens. It can go up $10, $15, $20 in 3 days, right? Many of these setups, if you see, have been up like in a $10 to $25 to $50 in just few days. This is what we call as a dollar breakout setup, which I trade on the Stockbee site. And these are all examples of this. And I'm not going to show you all examples. I just wanted to show you, look, what kind of a work is required to be a profitable trader. Visual memory development is extremely important, because if you know this is what this setup is going to look like, then you can see it in real life, and you know, okay, look, what is the potential of a set of $10 to $15, what will they look like. And this kind of a work requires time, it requires effort, it requires details. So this is one example of this kind of a visual memory development, and for discretionary trader it is very important. Similarly, if you're trading a short setup, then you need to have examples of that, and the more examples you have of that, and visually it is part of your thinking process, then it becomes easy. In a day, any given normal day, I look at 500, 600 examples like this, and over a year I must be looking at thousands of them. And also, like, because a lot of Stockbee members, they do this kind of a work, they send it to me, so I look at their work. So that also helps me, and that results in developing a visual memory, which is very, very well developed visual memory. So instantly, if somebody shows you something and you know, look at whether this is a buy or not a buy, especially early in the morning, you're running a scan and you see, and you have a very well developed visual memory, you can quickly select a setup and enter into it. So that is one of the advantages. I'll show you another example of the same thing, like somebody else did it basically. So this is like 374 setups this person put together as a PDF file for their own personal use. And again, it's a visual memory kind of a development exercise. So if you see in this particular case, again, you'll see this is a PDF file in which this person, like, he created this Moderna, and where should the entry be, what is the 5-day potential or 1-day potential, and created a complete visual memory including volume marked on it. So here, and this is excellent work. Like, this is the kind of work which is required to become highly profitable. Means if you're really looking at making killing in the market, this is the kind of work, this is the kind of pattern book you should develop for your own trading. It should be part of your daily process of going through this, looking at these patterns, studying this, because it's like generals, they study past wars and learn from past wars, so that when they are in a real war situation, they can instantly react and they can recall, okay, look, and this is what happened, so this can be done, kind of a thing. See here. So very nice work has been done to visually identify the pattern and put together all the details, so that it becomes a reference work for your own trading. So this becomes a reference work for your own trading in terms of looking at, look, and what happened. There was a dollar breakout. Then how did the stock go up? In 9 days, it gave you basically 80,000 profit on 3,000 shares, while risking 1.2 risk, right? So this is how traders who are really good traders, and all these kind of work have been done by traders who are really at the top of their game, or they want to be at the top of the game. So if you have an ambition to make millions of dollars trading, and if you're not a quantitative trader or somebody who's doing it through computer kind of a thing, and you want to be doing it as a discretionary trader, and you have a setup, then you need to have 300 to 400 examples of ideal setups and a book full of ideal setups, which becomes your visual library and a visual tool. So go to work, build yourself a visual library, build your visual imagery. If you build your visual memory, you'll find your trading becomes very easy.